Hello and welcome to the channel. I am here for another versus video for you guys. Now, you guys might actually notice something about the quality of this video. You guys might be able to see me a little more clearly. I don't know if you guys can notice that. I don't know if the camera is really picking that up. But I recently got a ring light so I figured that I would maybe start using it for videos like this and just videos in general. And I'll also be using this for my series work as well. But yeah, for this video, I want to talk about two debut albums. Now, I know with these versus video, I've been lately putting debut album up against debut album, but I feel like, it's really the best way to compare albums, I think, at least in my opinion. And this won't be all the time, of course. I'll compare, albums that aren't debut. I promise you guys that. So, yeah, for this versus video, we're going to be taking a look at two bands that are legends in heavy metal. Two bands I'd say are essential for anyone who listens to heavy metal. And the bands are, of course, Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden. Two excellent bands, so we'll be comparing both their debut albums. So for this versus video, we'll be comparing Black Sabbath with their debut album versus Iron Maiden with their debut album. This one is a really tough call, I think, because both these albums are excellent. Now, I think I do know which one I like more, but I do want to talk about both of the albums and the great things about them before I do reveal which one I think is really better. With Black Sabbath, this is such a great album. I mean, the title track, it's really eerie sounding. It's very doomy sounding. This is basically the closest Black Sabbath has gotten to, doom metal and things of that nature. But yeah, such a great album. Of course, the title track is really great. I think The Wizard is really good. Of course, it's got NIB, and I pretty much have no complaints with this album at all. I think all the tracks are pretty solid. And it's a classic, and it's arguably the first heavy metal album to ever exist, to ever release and things like that. So yeah, definitely a lot of significance to Black Sabbath and their debut record. Now for Iron Maiden, of course their debut, they had Paul on vocals. There were only two Iron Maiden albums with Paul. There was, of course, the debut album and Killers. I do prefer the debut album. I know that's a rather unpopular opinion because I think most fans do prefer Killers. But I don't know, I'm one of those people that do prefer the self-titled debut. But that's just me. And yeah, this is such a great album too. It's got Prowler, what else? Running Free, Remember Tomorrow, Phantom of the Opera, and the title track. It's just so many great songs, man. It's such a great album. But if you want to know where I stand in this, it's really tough. It really is, because these albums are, they're really close because they're both great. But I would have to say that I do prefer Black Sabbath and their debut record. And I think the reason being is because this album is almost flawless. There's no bad track on it. All of them are great. And I unfortunately can't say the same with Iron Maiden. Now, no, I wouldn't consider any of the songs on Iron Maiden's debut bad or anything, but just songs that I think you could live without, I think. Such as the instrumental Transylvania. I thought, you could do without that, honestly. And I think that, Black Sabbath's debut is just more groundbreaking, it's more impactful and things like that. And like I said, it's arguably the first heavy metal album to ever release. But yeah, both these albums, they're both great, but if you had to make me choose, Black Sabbath wins for me. I think it's a great album, arguably even one of their best. I know that some people do say it's one of their best, and then there's people that say it's nowhere close to one of their best. This is in their 70s time. You can't go wrong with it. And I do think that the 70s era is probably the best era of Black Sabbath, but that's just my opinion. I know people prefer Dio's era and things like that, but this is a great album. There's just really no denying that. So Black Sabbath, this album wins for me. Well, there you go, guys. I know it was a rather quick versus video, but yeah, I figured that I would just share which one I enjoyed more, and which one I think is better overall. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with my opinion, but regardless, please let me know what you think. Which album do you like more? Black Sabbath's debut or Iron Maiden's debut? Feel free to let me know in the comments. So with that being said, thanks for watching, have a nice day, and take care.